I'm Cassidy from Cozy Peach Kitchen. Today we're making broccoli cheddar pot pie, but this isn't your classic pot pie. They're actually made in single serve dishes and with puff pastry. I like to use puff pastry because, well, first off, you don't have to make your own pie crust, so that's awesome. And second, it's ready in just about 20 minutes. What I usually do is take the puff pastry out of the freezer because it has to thaw. I set it aside and then I do all the prep for this recipe. There's not a ton of prep to do, so the timing is just about perfect for how long it takes the puff pastry to thaw and how long it takes to prep everything. The very first step you want to take is to preheat the oven. I'm preheating mine to 400 degrees because that's what the puff pastry that I'm using recommends. Double check the puff pastry that you're using to make sure that 400 works for it. The first prep we do is slice the potato into tiny pieces. Now, you can take the skin off the potato. I usually leave it on, especially if I'm using Yukon Gold, because when the potato's boiled, the skin pretty much disappears. It's still there, so if you don't like this, then you can totally take the skin off. Now, I dice it into pretty small pieces because we don't want big chunks of potato in our pot pie. So we put the potato in a small pot and then cover it with about an inch of cold water. You also want to add in a fair amount of salt because the potatoes really soak up salt. So put that pot of potatoes on the stove, bring it up to high heat, and once it's boiling, you'll boil for about 10 to 12 minutes or until the potatoes are fork tender. The base of this recipe is made with a bechamel sauce, so we'll be using butter and flour to do that. Start by adding 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter to a pan over medium-high heat. Now we'll let those melt first. I like to use a silicone whisk for this so that I don't scratch my pan. It also makes it easier to stir up the flour when we do add it to the butter. So we have the butter all melted. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle in that flour. I'm using 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. We're going to go ahead and cook this for about 2 minutes. The purpose of cooking the flour is to get that floury taste out. So we're not going to make it deep brown, but we do want it to get a bit more golden. And you'll want to consistently stir the flour paste around so that it doesn't burn. You can see it got a little golden brown, so now it's ready to go and have the liquid added. You can use regular milk if you prefer. I'm using cashew milk as a lighter option. As you can see, it's forming a paste. This is good. You'll use that paste to slowly mix in the liquid. And the key to making this sauce is just slowly pour in the liquid and keep whisking the entire time. So I added about half a cup of liquid so far, and we'll add a total of 2.25 cups or 2 1/4 cups of this milk. We can go ahead and add the cheese now. We're using 3 ounces of sharp shredded cheddar cheese. We'll also add in the salt. That's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but you can definitely add more to taste. Now that the sauce is simmering, we'll let it simmer until it's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon without sliding off. Basically a cream soup or creamy pot pie consistency. So I went ahead and turned the stove off because I think that this is ready to go. As you can see, it's definitely thickened up, and it will continue to thicken up when it's in the oven as well. So you can see it doesn't come off the spoon all the way. It's still dripping, but it's clearly thickened up. So we'll set this aside for now. My puff pastry is completely thawed now. It was out for about 20 minutes, and we're actually going to go ahead and use just 1 sheet of puff pastry. And you can use one of your ramekins and just put it upside down and then cut around it. Or what I like to do is actually use this biscuit cutter. It's a little bit bigger than the ramekin I'm using, but I like that it overlaps it a little. So go ahead and cut those out. We're making the pot pie in these 8-ounce containers. They are oven safe, so definitely make sure that yours are oven safe too. We're going to start by adding the broccoli and the potato mixture. Now I actually go ahead and just add the potatoes to the broccoli and then I stir it together. That just makes it easier when you're portioning it out. We're going to divide it up between the 4. Try not to make too much of a mess like me. I find that it's easiest if you add the containers to a sheet pan. This way, when you're taking it out of the oven, you don't have to remove them individually because that can be kind of difficult. So line those up on your sheet pan. And now we'll add that sauce. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can pour it straight from the pan, but it may be a little messy. So usually I pour it into a measuring cup and then use that measuring cup to pour it into the individual containers. Now it's time to put the puff pastry on top. Place it gently on top. There you go. And I recommend doing this part fast because you don't want that pie crust to start melting from the heat. All right, now they're ready to go in the oven. We're gonna bake them at 400 for about 15 minutes or until the puff pastry is nice and golden and puffed up. You'll also want the sauce on the inside to be bubbling and looking really good and hot. I just took the pot pies out of the oven. They are looking beautiful. I will warn you, they are super hot when they first come out of the oven, so I usually let them rest about 5 minutes before eating them. I also like to poke into them a little to let some air steam out because they are very hot, so just be careful. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. They look beautiful, puffy, and delicious. Can't wait to crack into one. I hope you enjoyed making these pot pies with me. As you can see, it's pretty easy. There's just a few simple steps. You make that cream base, you heat up your broccoli and your potatoes, and then you cut out your puff pastries, throw it in the oven, and they're ready in about 15 minutes. Overall, this recipe takes just about over 30 minutes to make, so it's great for weeknight meals. I also love making them for a comforting meal on a Sunday night, especially if it's a little chilly out. Whenever you make it, I hope you love it. Definitely let me know if you try it out. Check out the full recipe on the blog, and you can find all kinds of easy vegetarian recipes on my channel, so hit subscribe, visit cozypeachkitchen.com, and thank you for watching.